Our speaker today is Reverend Wendy Yacboski. Reverend Wendy believes that one divine life is the source of all life's abundance. And today she will share pointers on how each of us can transform this universal truth into our everyday reality. Please join me in giving a warm unity welcome to Reverend Wendy.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Luciana. So welcome, Unity of Vancouver. So good to be here, to see you again, and to be able to share a message with you that I hope you leave here differently from. As perfect as you are, right here and right now, I've got some really good news for you. So let's begin. And so now we start at the beginning, in the silence within. So I will lead us in a guided meditation, and I invite you to, if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes and be present here and now to yourself within. And consciously, intentionally breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. And as you breathe in this time, know that you are breathing in the breath of God. And as you breathe out, letting go of everything unlike the light of God. And one more time, breathing in the breath of God and breathing out everything unlike love. And now just breathing normally, remembering that we are one with this one power, this one presence, this one breath, this one light and life. So I invite us to let us leave behind any thoughts of separation from what I call God. If you have another term that feels more comfortable for you to use, I encourage you to use that one. Whatever is our creator and source for you, let us together turn our minds to real and true ideas instead of the belief of separation. And as we go through this time of guided meditation together, remember with me that no one can fail who seeks to reach the truth, the divine truth, and it is this truth we seek to reach today. So I invite you again to give yourself to this moment and your own sincere desire to know and more fully be the truth. So take your mind's eye to your very mind, and with your eyes closed, I invite you to allow the thoughts that make you think that you are separate. Notice them. not taking them on, but just notice what kinds of thoughts are going on for you when you feel separate from God, from good, from prosperity, from a wealthy life. Just take a moment. And as they come to you, each one and all of them, I invite you now, whatever they are, without judgment, to let them go. And imagine yourself, your inner self, sinking below them into the holy place where those beliefs and those thoughts can enter not. There is this place in you. Trust and go there now. And as you find your way into this holy place, this place of truth, this place of divine reality, you see a very special door. A door that you will come to see that you could not completely lock to hide what lays beyond the door. But before you try to open it, remind yourself that no one, not even I, can fail who seeks to reach the divine truth. And it is this request that we make today. Nothing but this has any meaning now. No other goal is valued nor sought. Nothing before this door you really want. Only what lays past this door do you seek. And now, in your mind's eye, put out your hand and see how easily the door swings open with your one intent to go beyond it. Perhaps an energetic vibration, perhaps an angel, more than one angel, or guides light the way, so that all the darkness you knew vanishes. And you are standing in a light so bright and clear that you can understand all things that you see. And a tiny moment of surprise perhaps will make you pause before you realize that this world you see before you in the light beyond the door reflects the truth you knew and did not fully forget in wandering away in world dreams. Know that you cannot fail today or in your continued search to reach for and remember your divine truth. There walks with you the Spirit heaven sent you, that you might approach this door someday. And through the aid of this Spirit, you now slip past the door to the light. So today, that day has come. This is a day of gladness, for we come to the appointed time and place where you will find the goal of all your searching and all the seeking of the world, which ends together as you pass beyond the door. And so now I invite you to gently take your attention back to your breath, back to your lungs, allowing yourself to inhale softly and deeply, and to exhale softly and deeply until you are ready to open your eyes. And when you are, please do so.
This song was written by my father, Lloyd Arnson. A friend of his had passed, and he paid tribute to his friend by writing a song about his boat. The man was a fisherman, and the boat and the man had a lot of history together, and this song tells the story of Early Field. Read the eastern sky that evening as I cast off around the quay, westward bound for schools of herring in early field, early field. Stout the boat and young the sailor, sound of timber and straight of keel. Oh, how well she cleaved to the water, early field, early field. Gray the noon clouds, low and darkling, shrill the gale in her cross trees. How her bow shook 'neath green water as down they crashed the angry seas. I fought to keep her head to weather, and deep water 'neath her keel. We fought wind and wave together, early field, early field. read the western sky that evening, breeze astern, now fair and free, homeward bound, we're for safe harbor, and no more I'll go to sea. Sweet my boat now rides at anchor, ripples murmur along her keel, takes her rest now like the sailor, early field, early field.
So beautiful, Tom, to have your dad with us today as well. And he must be so happy hearing you sing his song.
He is.
Okay. I want to share with you part of what caused me to want to talk about living in your prosperous heart. Over the past few months, I've been teaching a Canadian Mental Health Association program called Living Life to the Full. And what I noticed being mentioned before class was about how life seems to be going so negatively, making it seem like, and understandably so, that that's the reality. What's happening out there is the reality. We recognize that they are the facts, but are they the reality that we expect ongoing? And I've always cared about people, individual and collective, but I started feeling like it's time to give a really important reminder about the truth of who we are. And this morning after my meditation, there comes up a little quote that if I needed validation, there was validation from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who said that for heart to be whole, we must know who we are. And so I care about our experience, the experience that we're having in life, especially as I've come to know God in a new way than I ever did growing up through New Thought teachings. I care about the quality of our lives. I care about the future of our lives. And I'm not here as a fear sayer or fearmonger or anything. What I'm here to say is that we have a most amazing heritage, a spiritual heritage that we can choose from that will make the difference. And I know that everyone here, everyone on the live stream knows this. And I am here to remind us that everything non-physical and physical comes from one source. So easy to forget. And the other is that spiritual experience, not intellectuality, is the answer. And letting go rather than adding on is our freedom. I've said this before, probably here, that I used to think that believing in God is about reading a book about God. And I'd be lying if I said that it didn't open my mind to a new idea about God. But it never gave me the knowing of God. Because the knowing of God can only come from experience. And what that requires of me, and perhaps of you, is practice. Practicing the experience of God. So we're going to be talking about that through our prosperous heart. So I want to begin with a quote about prosperity and what it is from Eric Butterworth, a Unity teacher. And he says that prosperity is a way of living and thinking, not just money or things. And he goes on to say, poverty is a way of living and thinking, not just a lack of money or things. And I want to bring to our attention the words of the song that we've already sung to remind us of the truth of us, that God, the Holy Creator of life, is within us and fills our presence, the Aramaic Lord's Prayer, and that our oneness now is what prevails, and that the desire of that one flows through us as energy fills all forms, and that that one source gives us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. This one source, this one intelligence untangles the knots of error or misunderstanding that bind us, as we also forgive the errors and misunderstanding of others, and that we don't let appearances make us forgetful of our source. And it winds up reminding us that we're born free to act from our highest natures, and that from its presence comes the glorious harmony of life, and that these words are the fertile ground from which our future grows. The reason that I repeat this and give the quote about prosperity is that we can know in our mind that those words are true. But are we remembering them? Are we practicing them in the ways that we can? And that is what I hope to remind us of today. The percentage of people, children, older children, adults, older adults, and elders are experiencing anxiety, depression, fear, all manner of stress, all manner of perhaps feeling lost in a world that tells them they should be different than they really are. And I believe that part of the problem, actually I personally believe it's a lot of the problem, and that is the external referencing that we are conditioned with from a young age, telling us what success should look like for us, what attractiveness to others should look like for us, what wealth should look like for us, and the things that we should have if we're wealthy. This is not about having things that we love, that are beautiful, that are fine, that we really enjoy. But if you ever asked yourself the question that I have, which is that, do I own this stuff, or does this stuff own me? And to be honest with you, I had to answer the latter on a few of them. I trust that everyone here is looking for freedom, the freedom that was spoken of in the Lord's Prayer that we've had from the beginning. But it's gotten covered up. It's gotten forgotten. And forgotten in such a way that sometimes we make choices that make something that is not spiritually true seem true. We need to go within, because it is within that the truth, the answer is. And we all have different ways of doing that, different ways of practicing. But does anyone relate to following what others say, whether it's a societal thing, whether it's a family thing, whether it's a friend thing? If I could ask each one of you that are nodding, I would ask, how does that feel? And what's the cost? Please know that I'm not trying to bring this message as a downer, but as a consideration, as a coming to self-awareness, as a coming to know that if I want to live my life more to the full, what is it that I need to do? If I want to live from my prosperous heart, what is it that I need to do? Because otherwise, the usual will take over, and we're so much more than the usual. But when we listen to others, even though it feels good because we feel, I know that when I've done it, I've felt like it's almost like I wasn't 100% responsible. Somebody else was joining me in responsibility. But you want to know what? It decreased my sense of self-worth. I've come to realize after all these years that listening outside of me diminished my self-worth. Even all the people that I study, not spiritually, but about trying to have a better business or whatever it is, if it doesn't come from my heart, ultimately, where is the fulfillment? If it doesn't come from your heart, where is the fulfillment? We all have the opportunity to move into our hearts and to have, if no one else, ourselves honor our value, our uniqueness, our divine expression. Because every one of us, which you've heard so many times before, has something very special and unique to offer. Not only special and unique, but essential. Essential. And I think one of the ways that we can start doing that is by doing it in small bits. When we're giving our power away to the external, let's not judge ourselves. Let's not berate ourselves. Let's just acknowledge it. I just gave my power away. How can I take some part of that back right now? Eric Butterworth has another quote that helps us to reframe world thinking. Not changing it, but how we can reframe it. And he says, within you is a limitless, unborn potential of creativity and substance. The tragedy can become a blessing. The disadvantage can become an advantage. The failure can become an opportunity. And the disappointment can become God's appointment. And it's in opening to this that I believe that we open to our prosperous heart. We open to new ways, new ideas. That I'm just remembering a quote that said, before you tell your life what you're going to do with it, listen to it and let it tell you what it is going to do with you. Have you ever noticed a difference between what you want to do with your life and what your life wants through you? It's an interesting question that I invite you to take on. Having a prosperous heart is having the faith of God. The faith of God. It's a certain knowing within that we have. How many of you have ever experienced that sense of knowing that there's no left or right? You just know it's the truth and you just don't question it. The prosperous heart knows. The prosperous heart is of courage. It's willing to take the leap, knowing that the net will appear. The prosperous heart is a heart of love, a heart of peace, a heart of enoughness, which sometimes also takes courage. And the prosperous heart sees good. It sees God. It is God. The prosperous heart is God. When we talk about prosperity, I read a quote by Julia Cameron who said, True spiritual, hang on a sec, prosperity is a spiritual, not a fiscal, bottom line. We're not always taught that. We're definitely not conditioned with that. I mentioned, I believe, in the topic for this, that the old adage that the only constant is change, then what can we trust in that never changes? God never changes. God expresses in different forms. There are probably about 40, if not more, different forms of expression today, here. But the only thing that doesn't change that we can rely on will never leave us is God. I'm reminded of another saying, if God is everywhere present, who moved? So perhaps I'm sure everyone is at a different place in acceptance of not only the idea of God, but what God does or doesn't do. But I've truly come to believe that what I call God is pure life itself, the source of life that is intelligence itself, that is love itself, unconditional love itself. You know, I'm sure many of us have had the experience where there was something that we needed or we wanted, didn't know how it was going to happen, where it was going to happen, who it might happen through, and we gave it up. We let it go. And somehow, somewhere, that need was fulfilled. Does anyone recognize that? I want to say to you that if it happened once, it can happen anytime. If it happened for anyone else, it can happen for you. Because good and what we need is a birthright. It's not a request in that way. We're not asking for something that's not ours. We're claiming what is ours. And I believe that God, or the relationship that I and we have with that source, how much we are receptive to it and build our faith in it, that is where it comes. The visible comes from the invisible. So remember that we don't have a prosperous heart. We are the prosperous heart. We were created in the spiritual likeness and image of God. And yes, we are spiritual beings having a human experience with the opportunity to bring that spirit through our humanity to light our lives and the lives of each other. So, in many ways, I believe that this is a calling and a reminder. And I want to share with you a quote that I had never heard of before by Leo Tolstoy, who said, "It is within my power to either serve God or not. Serving God, I add to my own good and the good of the whole world. Not serving God, I forfeit my own good and deprive the world of that good which was in my power to create." And to just clarify, we don't create good, but we do express good. We do align with good. We do share good. We do extend good. And in that example, we teach and help to create. So more than tips, I guess you could say, for living in our prosperous heart or living the prosperous heart, the only thing I have to share is how can you turn within, more within than you've ever turned before? Can you allow yourself to have the courage to feel more than you ever have before the presence of God, the love of God, the order of God, the joy of God? Because truly, the nature of God is our nature. And to experience God is to remember God. And as we remember, so we live. It's about remembering who we are truly. I know there have been times where that really scared me, to think that I have my own power. Not my own as in separate, but my own as in power. That I might use it wrongly, or I might use it poorly, or I might hurt someone. But that's not the power that we're talking about. It's actually the power of love, the power of light. So if we've bought in to the world idea that our heart that our prosperity, that our good is outside of us, I encourage us to buy out and turn in. It's a practice that gets easier with a term I use is proving God herewith, right where I am, right where we are. And let us be an example that there's more than a world thought. There's more than what the world calls prosperity and success and love and all that we yearn for, sometimes in the middle of the night, waking up, feeling something really important is missing. So I'm going to close with one more quote by a woman that is a Course in Miracles teacher, a woman I admire very, very much. And she says, "There is a divine appointment, a time when you finally stop searching for reasons for your failure, and you start cherishing your truth instead." She said, "My success took me the exact amount of time that it took to trust myself, to trust my essence, and to trust this presence, this other realm and momentum of ease and goodness that you never see on the evening news." This is what I know about each of us, and this is what I know for each of us. So I invite you to join me in my own practicing and remembering the truth of who I am and who you are. Namaste, everyone.
Here's a tune that my brother wrote, and it's called These Wooden Floors. And at the end of the tune, I'm gonna ask you to help me out, and I hope you do. I love wooden floors. I love anything made of wood. It's just cool. I don't know. These wooden floors, they have laid there at the ready all these years, bound together by the nails and the souls they've had to bear, as upon them life's reflections became worn in all directions. And we must forgive ourselves, we've learned to gently tread, and where we found redemptive love, we now dance there instead, upon these wooden floors. These wooden floors heard the sons and the daughters coming home, and the mothers and the fathers left to share time alone, as upon them life's reflections became torn in all directions. After all, we must forgive ourselves, for time is but a thread. It's just a thread. After all, you cannot trace every line from where it led to where it led upon these wooden floors. These wooden floors hold the blood and the sweat and the tears and the hurt and the longing to be free from it all, as upon them life's reflections became torn in all directions. After all, we must forgive ourselves, for time is but a thread. It's just a thread. After all, you cannot trace every line from where it led to where it led upon these wooden floors. Now clap your hands. Clap your hands for the joy of being together. Clap your hands for the ones you'll never see anymore. Now move your feet. Come on, stand up. Move your feet to the left and to the right. Move your feet to the left and to the right. Be all right. Now move your body back and forth, all together to feel all right. Come on. Back and forth, all together, don't you feel all right? In the night, look around at your brothers and your sisters and your friends and the people that you need to be making amends. Now move your body back and forth all across these wooden floors. Back and forth all across these old wooden floors. Thank you. Thank you for helping.
Give it up one more time for our amazing Tom Artson.
Thanks, people.
Thank you, Tom. You always uplift us and touch our hearts with your beautiful music. And thank you, Reverend Wendy, for the inspiring message. Beautiful, as usual. To donate online, simply click on the donate link in your chat window, which will allow you to give via all major credit cards. You can also give via e-transfer, which can be addressed to donations@unityofvancouver.org. Once again, if you are on Zoom or YouTube, you will find a donate link in your chat window. Our May dance is coming up. Come celebrate May at our lively dance night. It is coming up on Friday, May 24th, so mark your calendars and join us on the lower level from 7 p.m. And join us for an incredible Beatles tribute on Friday, July 19th at 7 p.m. Tickets are just $25 and can be purchased by visiting unityofvancouver.org. And don't forget that you can deepen your spiritual practice during this week with our A Course in Miracles study groups, which takes place on Tuesdays from 12:30 to 2:30 on the lower level. And you can find information on all of our upcoming classes on the bulletin board in the lobby, so please check it out. And today's affirmative prayer chaplains are Jeannie Bell Arvin, Carol Roman, and Mel Burns, and Len Satov on Zoom. Could you please stand so we can see who you are? Thank you. Thank you for your service to the light. I highly recommend those prayers. They are so powerful, magical, and really amazing. You should all try. And to have a confidential prayer with one of our chaplains, simply come up to the front after all the music has finished. They will be in the front row until then and would love to support you in prayer. And if you're watching on Zoom, I can show you how to participate in just a few minutes. And join us downstairs after the service for coffee, tea, and conversation. So now, as we bring our gathering to a close, please stand and let us together say our prayer for protection. All together now. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Please remain standing for the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. Take